The first thing I noticed when I walked through the door wasn't the smell of food or the sight of my suitcase leaning against the wall. It was the laughter. Too loud. Too easy. The kind of laughter that didn't belong in a house that was supposed to miss me. I stopped in the hallway, my shoes still damp from the rain outside, and listened. It was coming from the kitchen, deep, full laughter. My husband, Daniel, and his parents. My son wasn't laughing though. I could hear him trying to speak between their chatter, his little voice breaking, small and wet. I stepped forward, heart pounding. I'd only been gone 3 days for a conference in Chicago. 3 days. I had texted, called, FaceTimed. Daniel had been distracted, but I thought it was work. He always said he was fine. But hearing them now, laughing while our son sounded like he'd been crying, something twisted hard in my gut. When I turned the corner, I froze. The kitchen was spotless, too spotless. The counters cleared of everything I'd left. The fridge door gleamed, magnets gone, my son's drawings replaced by a single family first calendar I'd never seen before. At the table, my husband sat across from his mother, glasses of wine between them, his father carving roast chicken like it was Thanksgiving. And in the corner, near the pantry, my son sat on the step stool, his face blotchy and damp. His favorite dinosaur plate was on the floor, broken clean in half. "Mom," he gasped when he saw me. Daniel's smile vanished. "Claire, you're home early." His mother, Janice, looked at me over her glass, lips tight but polite. "Well, isn't this a surprise?" I looked at my son first. "What happened?" Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "He threw a tantrum about dinner." "I didn't." Ethan cried. "I just wanted to wait for you." My stomach dropped. "Wait for me?" Daniel's father chuckled. "Oh, come on, Claire. You weren't going to make it back tonight anyway. The boy needs to learn not everything revolves around you." The words hit like a slap. I didn't respond. I went to Ethan, knelt down, and wiped his cheeks with my sleeve. "Hey, sweetheart," I whispered. "It's okay. I'm here." Behind me, Janice sighed. "He's been like this the whole time. Emotional. Stubborn. You really spoil him." I turned slowly. "Excuse me?" She raised her eyebrows, unfazed. "Just saying. Daniel told us you've been too soft on him. It's not good for a boy." I looked at my husband. "You said that?" Daniel avoided my eyes. "Mom's not wrong. He needs structure. You coddle him." I stood up, blood rushing in my ears. "He's 7. He missed his mom." Daniel's father pushed back his chair, heavy boots thudding against the floor. "Don't start, Claire. You women always make it emotional." I took Ethan's hand. "We're going upstairs." "Dinner's on the table," Janice said, her tone sugary now. "At least stay and eat." I didn't answer. Ethan gripped my fingers tightly as we went upstairs. When I closed the bedroom door, he crawled onto the bed and curled up against the pillow that still smelled faintly of my perfume. "Grandma said Daddy doesn't love you anymore," he whispered. I felt something crack in my chest. "What?" "She said you only care about work and that's why he's sad." His lip trembled. "Is it true?" I sat down beside him and tucked him under the blanket. "No, baby. That's not true." But as I said it, I realized I didn't know if I believed it anymore. Daniel had been distant for months, late nights, missed calls, short answers. I thought it was the stress of his parents moving closer. I'd even told myself it would be good for Ethan to see them more often. But now, watching my son clutch my hand like he was afraid I'd disappear again, I wondered if I'd been blind. Downstairs, another round of laughter echoed through the house, carefree and cruel. Ethan whispered, "Mom, are they gonna make you leave?" My throat tightened. "No one's making me leave," I said. "Not this time." But deep down, I wasn't sure. Because I'd seen that kind of laughter before, the kind that meant decisions had already been made without me. And if Daniel thought I was going to stand by quietly while his parents rewrote the rules in my own house, he was about to learn exactly how wrong he was. The next morning, the house smelled like coffee and resentment. I woke up early, partly because I couldn't sleep and partly because I wanted to see what my husband would do when he didn't know I was watching. Through the half-open bedroom door, I could hear Daniel's voice downstairs, low, serious. His mother's sharper, like glass scraping marble. His father slow, drawling agreement every few sentences. Ethan was still asleep beside me, his hair a messy halo against the pillow. I brushed it back gently, tucked the blanket higher, and slipped out of bed. My bare feet were silent on the carpet as I moved to the landing. "She's too emotional to handle this," Janice was saying. "She'll understand once she calms down," Daniel replied. "Understand what?" I crept down a few steps and stopped where the banister turned, peering between the posts. They were all in the kitchen, same scene as last night but stripped of fake smiles. His father was pouring coffee into a travel mug. "You signed the papers yet?" My pulse quickened. "Not yet," Daniel said. "I told the agent we'd need another week." "What papers?" Janice demanded. "The refinance agreement," Daniel muttered. "For the house." I gripped the railing until my knuckles went white. "The house, our house." Janice leaned forward. "You can't wait. If she finds out, she'll fight it." "She's not supposed to find out," his father said flatly. My mouth went dry. Janice clicked her tongue. "Daniel, listen to your father. You have to get this done before she starts snooping again. She's already on edge." "Mom, she's my wife," he said, but his voice was weak. "She deserves to know eventually." "She'll ruin it," his father cut in. "That woman has always had control issues. You can't build a business if she's breathing down your neck." "Business?" I leaned closer. The step creaked, and all three heads snapped up. My heart slammed into my ribs. "Claire?" Daniel called. I stepped down slowly, pretending I hadn't heard half of what I'd just heard. "Morning," I said. "Didn't mean to interrupt your family meeting." Janice pasted on her perfect smile again. "We were just discussing Daniel's plans. You should join us." "Oh, I'm sure I will, very soon." I walked past them, grabbed a mug, and poured my own coffee. My hands were steady now. I'd learned that trick in nursing: stay calm even when your insides are chaos. "So," I said casually, "what business are we building?" Daniel's eyes flicked to his parents. "It's nothing yet. Just an idea." "Funny," I said, because I distinctly heard the words refinance and papers. "Sounds pretty real to me." Janice chuckled, fake and brittle. "You must have misheard." I sipped my coffee, staring at her over the rim. "I didn't mishear anything." Daniel sighed. "Fine. I'm opening a repair shop. Dad and I found a property downtown. It's a good deal, but we need equity to secure the loan. And that's where our house comes in." He hesitated. "It's temporary, Claire. Just until the business stabilizes." "Without telling me?" "You were traveling," he said. "I didn't want to stress you out." I set my mug down carefully. "You're refinancing our home without my consent, Daniel. I think that qualifies as stressful." His father stood. "Don't start dramatizing. He's trying to do something for his family." "For his family," I repeated quietly. "Or for you too?" Janice bristled. "Don't you dare." I turned to Daniel. "You used to tell me everything. When did that stop?" He didn't answer. The silence stretched until Ethan's voice floated from upstairs. "Mom?" I swallowed hard, forcing a calm smile. "Coming, baby." I left the kitchen before the tears came. Upstairs, Ethan sat on the bed, rubbing his eyes. "I had a dream you were gone again," he whispered. I hugged him. I'm not going anywhere. But as I held him, my mind raced. They were using my absence, my trust, to shift everything under my feet. If I hadn't come home early, I might have found myself sharing a mortgage with Daniel's father, and they'd all pretend it was for the family's future. They thought I was soft. They thought I wouldn't notice. They had no idea who they were dealing with. I waited until they left for errands, Daniel with his father, Janice trailing behind, muttering about women who can't handle big decisions. As soon as the door clicked shut, I opened Daniel's desk drawer in the office. Inside was a manila envelope with the logo of a real estate firm. I pulled out the first page, home equity line of credit application. 2 signatures. One was Daniel's. The other line was blank, with my name printed neatly underneath. So that was their plan. To get me to sign it, smile sweetly, and play supportive wife while they used my equity for their dream. Not this time. I placed the paper back exactly where I found it, then took out my phone and snapped photos of everything. Every page. Every signature. I'd play calm for now. But when they came home tonight, smiling and laughing like nothing was wrong, they wouldn't realize I'd already started building my own plan, one that didn't involve them. This house was mine too. And if Daniel wanted to gamble it away, he was about to learn what happens when you bet against the woman who built the foundation in the first place. I started with the house. While Ethan ate cereal and watched cartoons, I pulled the deed, our mortgage statements, the tax bill. I scanned every page into a folder labeled Home, Primary, Do Not Touch, then renamed it something boring, PTA Bake Sale, and backed it up to the cloud and a thumb drive I clipped under my bra strap. If they wanted to play documents, I'd play chess. Next move, the bank. I called, sweet as sugar. Hi. I'm co-owner on our mortgage. I'd like to place a verbal password on any changes and note that no HELOC or refinance is authorized without my in-person consent. The rep hesitated. We already have a preliminary HELOC application, I know, I said, calm and bright. Please flag it as disputed and require dual in-person ID for any movement. I gave the password. A word only Ethan would guess, Ankylosaurus. Then I set fraud alerts with the credit bureaus, changed our joint account online banking password, and created a new checking account in my name only. I rerouted my direct deposit with 3 taps. The savings that kept getting mysteriously borrowed for Daniel's tools proceeded to a place no father-in-law could touch. I wasn't done. I opened a new email, drafted a timeline, and attached photos of the HELOC papers and the kitchen meeting. I didn't send it. Not yet. But the draft sat there like a grenade with the pin halfway out. By 2, Ethan and I were in the car. Errands, buddy, I told him. At the locksmith, I had 2 cylinders rekeyed and picked up a keypad deadbolt. Ethan chose the code, 2-7-4-7, it spells BRGR on old phones, Mom. We giggled. It felt good to laugh again, even in a strip mall that smelled like tire rubber and coffee. Back home, I swapped the deadbolt in under 10 minutes. Thank you, YouTube and the 3 rentals I renovated before Daniel decided handy is for guys who gave up. I left the handle lock the same so their keys would still turn, just not open. Let them think I was still asleep. I checked the nanny cams we used when Ethan was a toddler. 2 still worked. I set one on the bookshelf across from the dining table and another on the office shelf, pointed at the desk drawer where Daniel had tucked the manila envelope. They backed up to my phone. No blinking lights. No obvious lens. Just 2 more picture frames among the rest. At 3:18, my phone buzzed. Daniel, running to the notary at 5. Can you be home? Need your signature on something small so I can set up the business checking. Me, what documents? Daniel, just standard bank stuff. 10 minutes tops. Me, be home at 5. Good. Let him bring the show to me. I showered, pulled on a simple black dress, low ponytail, no jewelry. I looked like a nurse who'd come from a shift to sign something quick. I felt like a wire pulled tight enough to sing. At 4:52, tires crunched the driveway. Voices. Laughter that tried to sound casual and landed unrehearsed. I breathed out, positioned my phone face down on the island, camera already live, and poured 3 waters like I was a hostess instead of a defendant. They came in with a breeze, the 3 of them, a triangle that had been drawn without me. Daniel carried a folder, his father carried a sales grin, Janice carried a leather tote and the smugness of a woman who already owned the ending. Right behind them, a notary I didn't recognize, briefcase in hand, neutral and bored. "Claire," Daniel said warmly, too warmly. "Thanks for doing this." "Of course," I said. "What am I signing?" He placed the folder on the island and opened it to a tabbed stack. The top page faced me, authorization to add borrower to home equity line. Below, smaller type, grant of lien. My name already printed, the line waiting. "Small?" I asked. "Formality," his father said. "Bank needs both signatures." I slid the stack toward me and kept my face smooth while my brain mapped routes out. The notary set his stamp down like a gavel. "Before we begin," I said, "I'd like to read everything." Janice scoffed. "It's standard." "I'll read it anyway." I smiled. "It's my house too." Silence flexed. I took my time. Each page, front and back, a pen in my hand making small notes in the margins that meant nothing except "I am not overwhelmed by your confidence." Midway through, on the property collateral schedule, I saw it, the cabin address typed in a tiny box, like an afterthought. My fingers went cold. They hadn't just aimed at the house. They'd grabbed the cabin too. I looked up. "You added the cabin." Daniel's eyes darted. "It's just collateral. It lowers the rate. You tried to sell it last night. Collateral is foreclosure fuel. Pick one story." His father leaned in. "You don't understand finance." I leaned in further. "I understand leverage. And men who borrow against history to buy a future they haven't earned." Janice's lips thinned. "The notary is waiting." "Right," I said, and slid the stack back. "I won't be signing." The split second after that sentence felt like freefall. Daniel's face fell. Janice's smile died for real this time. His father's jaw locked. "You have to sign," Daniel said softly, pleading creeping in. "We already made the offer on the building. They're holding it for us. There's a deposit." "With what money?" I asked. He swallowed. "Borrowed." "From who?" He didn't answer. He didn't have to. His father reached for the folder like he'd rip the pages in half and somehow that would change reality. I kept my voice steady. "I talked to the bank today. Any changes to this house require my in-person authorization with a password. I said it this morning." Janice laughed, brittle. "They won't block a husband." "They already did." The notary cleared his throat, uncomfortable. "Should I reschedule?" "Please," I said. He packed up fast. Janice rounded on me the second the door closed. "You are sabotaging your own husband." "No," I said. "I'm saving my son's home." Daniel rubbed his temples. "Claire, we need this. I can't keep working for other people. I have a plan. Dad will help." "I know your plan," I said. "It started when you stopped telling me the truth." His father scoffed. "We'll get another notary." "Get 10, I said, and slipped a single sheet from my own folder. "But first, since we're all here, sign this." Daniel frowned. "What is it?" "House rules," I said. "Effective immediately, while you're here, no guests without my consent. No entering rooms that aren't yours. No using my office. No discussing adult business with Ethan. And no documents come into this house for my signature without being emailed to me 48 hours in advance. You, Daniel, agree that no credit will be opened in either of our names without both of us present." Janice snorted. Cute. I set a pen on the paper. Sign, or pack. Daniel stared at the list, then at me. For a second, I saw the man who used to ask my opinion before buying a hammer. Then his father stepped into the space between us like a wedge. "Don't sign that," he murmured. Something in me settled. Fine. He'd chosen their laughter. I picked consequence. "Okay," I said, light. "No problem." I turned, walked down the hall, and opened the guest room door. Suitcases lay open on the bed. I grabbed one, hauled it to the hall, and set it upright with the handle extended. "What are you doing?" Janice hissed. "Starting the clock," I said. "You have until tomorrow at noon. Ethan and I will be here. A mover will meet you at 1. If you're still here, the police will help you finish." Daniel's face strained. "Claire. You can come back after you sign the house rules," I said gently. "Not before." Janice's mouth opened and closed. His father took a step toward me, then stopped. Maybe it was the way I didn't flinch. Maybe it was the way the nanny cam's little black eye watched him from the shelf. He pointed at Daniel. "Son." Daniel looked like a boy between two doors. He didn't move. "Timer starts now," I said, and checked my watch like a nurse calling a code. 12 hours, 41 minutes. The house was so quiet I could hear the fridge hum. Somewhere upstairs, Ethan laughed at a cartoon punchline. A clean, real laugh. Janice snapped her bag closed. "We're going," she said, voice clipped. "We'll be back in the morning." "You'll call first," I said. They left in a storm of offended footsteps. The door clicked shut. Silence settled, heavy and bright. Daniel stayed, eyes on the house rules like they might rearrange themselves into something he could live with. He looked up. "If I sign it, do I still have a chance?" "You'll have a room," I said. "We'll see about the rest." He picked up the pen. His hand shook. The nib touched the paper, then the front door flew open again. Janice's voice, icy. "Actually, Claire? I forgot something." Behind her, 2 men in polo shirts stepped in with her. One carried a clipboard. The other carried a tape measure. "Meet the contractor," she said sweetly. "We're here to take a few measurements, for our shop front." "Daniel, show them the garage." I smiled. "Slow. Mean. Ready." "Perfect," I said. "I love witnesses." The 2 men behind her froze halfway through the doorway when they saw my face. I recognized the logo on their shirts, Ridgeview Renovations, a mid-tier contractor Daniel's dad used to brag about. "Fast, cheap, no questions," he'd said once. Now I knew exactly what that meant. "Afternoon," one of them said carefully. "We're here to check measurements for the attached garage remodel?" "Not anymore," I said. "Project's cancelled." Janice's smile turned saccharine. "Oh, don't be dramatic, Claire. We're just checking dimensions. Daniel mentioned expanding the workshop once the financing goes through." "Financing that isn't happening," I said, my voice calm and measured. "So, gentlemen, thank you for coming. But you can leave." They glanced between us, uncertain. Mr. Caldwell?" one asked Daniel. Daniel looked like he wanted to sink through the floor. "Just, give us a minute, guys." Janice folded her arms. "They have a job to do. Let them do it." I took a step forward, lowering my voice but not my tone. "If they take one more step into my house, I will call the police. And unlike you, Janice, I don't bluff." That froze her. For a second, something real flashed behind her perfect posture, fear or maybe realization that this wasn't going to go like every other family argument she'd won through endurance. The taller contractor cleared his throat. "Ma'am, we didn't mean to cause trouble. We'll come back when it's sorted." "Good call," I said. They stepped back out, murmured awkward goodbyes, and left. The door shut. Silence again. Only Janice's perfume lingered, sharp and expensive and choking. She turned on Daniel. Are you really going to let her talk to me like that? Daniel rubbed his temple. Mom, please. No, Daniel. I have put up with enough. We came to help you start your life, and this, she gestured at me, is how she repays you? Threatening the people who love you? Love doesn't sign my name on loans, I said. Love doesn't hide paperwork while I'm gone. Her eyes narrowed. You've poisoned him. Turned him against his own blood. Funny, I said, I was just thinking the same about you. For once, she didn't have a comeback. Her face stiffened, nostrils flaring. We'll talk in the morning. You won't be here in the morning, I reminded her. Clock's ticking. She spun on her heel and left. The slam of the door echoed all the way up the stairs. When it was just me and Daniel again, the quiet didn't feel like peace, it felt like aftermath. He leaned on the counter, staring at nothing. You didn't have to humiliate them. They brought a contractor into my home, Daniel. They humiliated themselves. He exhaled sharply. You're impossible when you're like this. When I'm like what? Awake? He flinched. Good. Let it sting. Maybe then he'd remember that every time he said I'm doing this for us, it ended with me cleaning up the debris. Claire, he said softly. I just wanted something of my own. Every decision we've made has been yours. That's because I've been the only one making them, I said. Do you even remember the last time you checked our bank account before buying something? His mouth opened, then closed. No answer. I pushed away from the counter. You want independence? Earn it. But you don't gamble our home for a workshop fantasy. He looked so small suddenly, shoulders curved in. You really think I'd let us lose everything? I don't think, I said. I know what happens when people sign papers they don't understand. I see it at work, patients who trusted someone else until the day their insurance didn't cover a thing. I'm done being one of them. For the first time all day, he didn't argue. Just nodded once, eyes glassy. Then, quietly, you've changed. I almost laughed. No, Daniel. I just stopped apologizing. Upstairs, Ethan's footsteps pattered across the hallway. A second later, his voice floated down. Mom? Are they leaving yet? Soon, sweetheart, I called back. Soon. Daniel's head dropped. He shouldn't have to see this. Then fix it. I left him standing there and went to tuck Ethan in. He was sitting cross-legged on his bed, the glow of his nightlight painting gold across his cheeks. Did Grandma get mad again? He asked. I smoothed his blanket. Just a little. Grown-ups forget how to use inside voices sometimes. Daddy's sad, he said softly. I paused. How do you know? His face. It's like when he broke the garage shelf and didn't tell you. That made me smile despite everything. You're too observant. He yawned. Are we gonna be okay? Better than okay, I whispered, brushing his hair back. I'm taking care of it. When I stepped out of his room, I heard the faint buzz of my phone downstairs. A new voicemail. The caller ID read Ridgeview Renovations. My stomach tightened. I hit play. Mrs. Caldwell, this is Mark from Ridgeview. Just calling to confirm tomorrow morning's walkthrough. Mr. Caldwell and his parents approved the garage remodel and transfer. Looks like it's part of a property evaluation for business collateral. We'll bring our assessor at 9 a.m. Thanks. Transfer. Assessor. Business collateral. So they'd already filed something. Behind my back. Probably before I'd even come home from that conference. Fine. I opened my laptop, logged into our county property records, and typed our address. My heart hammered as the screen loaded. There it was, notice of intent to secure lien pending appraisal. Dated yesterday. Filed by Caldwell and Sons Auto LLC. I stared at it until the words blurred. My husband's name. His father's. My house. They thought I'd scream or cry. They didn't understand, I was far past that stage. What I felt now was colder, heavier, and far more dangerous, clarity. I printed the notice, slid it into a folder, and wrote across the front in black marker, if they play dirty, I play professional. Then I opened my email draft labeled Grenade, the one with photos of the Hellick papers and timeline, and started adding attachments. Screenshots. County record link. The voicemail recording. Then I addressed it to 3 places, my lawyer friend from nursing school, the bank's fraud department, and the regional consumer protection office. I didn't send it yet. Timing mattered. From the window, I watched Daniel outside pacing in the driveway, phone to his ear, gesturing wildly. Probably calling his father. Probably saying, she found out. Good. Tomorrow morning, when those contractors showed up, I'd be waiting, with the police if necessary. I poured myself a glass of wine, opened the front door, and breathed in the night air. The wind had picked up. Leaves rustled across the porch like whispers. The house behind me felt alive again, on my side, not theirs. They thought they'd cornered me. They'd forgotten I've spent 15 years fixing other people's messes. Now, it was my turn to clean house, literally. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. By dawn, I was sitting at the kitchen table with a mug of cold coffee, watching the front window like it was a movie screen. I wasn't waiting for a sunrise, I was waiting for witnesses. At 8:52 a.m., 2 trucks rolled into the driveway, Ridgeview Renovations and County Property Services. I'd called the bank's fraud department an hour earlier and explained the situation. They promised to send an agent for verification. And just in case, I also called the sheriff's non-emergency line. Family property dispute, I said calmly. Might get loud. By 8:55, the cavalry was on its way. I heard Ethan's small footsteps padding down the hall. He rubbed his eyes, wearing his dinosaur pajamas. Mom, are those the people Grandma called? Yes, I said, crouching down to his level. But you're staying upstairs for a little while, okay? Just watch cartoons and keep the volume up. He nodded. Are you mad? I'm focused, I told him, kissing his forehead. Go on. The doorbell rang. I straightened, smoothed my hair, and opened the door. The same contractor from yesterday stood there, clipboard in hand, looking uncomfortable. Behind him was an appraiser in a county jacket, holding a tablet. And right on cue, Daniel's parents pulled up in their SUV, stepping out like they were arriving at a charity gala. Janice's sunglasses gleamed. Good morning, Claire. I see you've decided to be civil today. Good morning, I replied evenly. You're just in time for the fraud investigation. Her smile faltered. Excuse me? Behind her, Daniel stepped out of the car. He looked pale, nervous. Claire, what did you do? What you should have done, I said, stepping aside so the contractor and appraiser could see me clearly. Gentlemen, before you start, I need to inform you that any documents filed under my name are currently under investigation for forgery and unauthorized use of property. The contractor blinked. Ma'am, we're just here to measure, I finished. I know. And I'm here to document. I lifted my phone and hit record. The red light blinked alive. Janice snapped, this is ridiculous. The appraiser frowned, tapping his tablet. Wait, you said forgery? Because this permit request lists both owners' signatures. Exactly, I said. And one of those signatures isn't mine. Daniel swallowed hard. Claire, just stop. Why, Daniel? I asked quietly. Because you know I'm right? The sheriff's cruiser turned into the driveway at that exact moment, perfect timing. The deputy stepped out, a woman about my age, hand resting casually on her belt. Morning, folks. Got a report of a civil property dispute? Yes, I said. Right on schedule. Janice turned crimson. This is absurd. We're family. The deputy raised an eyebrow. Ma'am, I don't care if you're cousins or coworkers. If there's a dispute about ownership, I'm here to make sure no one crosses a legal line. The appraiser looked trapped. Should we come back another time? Yes, I said. You should. Daniel rubbed his face. Claire, please, can we just talk? You've had plenty of time to talk, I said. Now we deal in paperwork. Since that's apparently the only language your family understands. I turned to the deputy, calm and professional. Officer, I have evidence that an equity line application was filed without my consent. I've already spoken to the bank and submitted documentation to the fraud department. I'd like a report on record in case these individuals attempt to access or alter my property again. The deputy nodded. That's exactly what we'll do. Janice gasped. You can't possibly. The deputy cut her off. Ma'am, step back, please. For a moment, everything froze. The appraiser looked like he wanted to sink into the ground. The contractors shuffled awkwardly toward their trucks. Daniel's father glared at me like I'd personally dismantled his legacy. Daniel stood silent, eyes fixed on the pavement. That silence told me everything. He wasn't angry anymore. He was realizing. When the deputy finished her notes and gave me a copy of the case number, I thanked her and walked them out. The contractors left fast. The SUV idled for a second before Janice finally hissed, "You're going to regret this, Claire." Maybe, I said. But you'll regret it first. She slammed the car door and sped off. Daniel stayed behind, staring at the gravel like it held answers. Was this worth it? He asked quietly. Embarrassing me in front of everyone? You embarrassed yourself, I said softly. You just thought I'd clean it up like always. He winced. I didn't want it to go this far. Then you shouldn't have let it start. For the first time in years, Daniel didn't have a comeback. He just nodded, walked past me, and into the house. I followed a minute later. Inside, the silence was heavy but clean. No whispers, no plotting. He sat at the table, head in his hands. What happens now? I took out the house rules paper from yesterday and slid it across the table. You sign this, and then you call the bank to withdraw your application. Today. He looked at it, then at me. And after that? We rebuild trust, I said. If that's still possible. He hesitated. Then slowly, he signed. His signature looked shaky but real this time. It wasn't forgiveness. It was proof. After he left to make the call, I stepped onto the porch and exhaled for the first time in days. The deputy's cruiser was gone, the street quiet again. I could finally hear the birds, the faint hum of wind through the trees. I looked at the house, the same walls that had once felt like a trap now felt solid again, mine again. I wasn't naive enough to think the fight was over. But I knew one thing for sure. They'd underestimated the wrong woman. I checked my phone. One new email. Subject, investigation notice, pending review. The bank had already opened the case. I smiled. Sometimes, revenge isn't about destruction, it's about precision. Tomorrow, Janice would learn what happens when you try to forge a nurse's signature. And I'd be right here, waiting, coffee in hand, watching justice arrive one documented step at a time. The phone call that morning didn't sound like victory. It sounded calm, too calm. The kind of calm that happens when someone finally realizes they've lost control. It came at 9:07 a.m. I was folding laundry when the ringtone echoed through the kitchen. I almost let it go to voicemail, but curiosity won. Claire Caldwell? A clipped voice asked. This is Rebecca Chen, senior fraud investigator from First National Bank. I'm following up on your report. I straightened. Yes, I'm here. I wanted to confirm, she continued, that the home equity line filed under your and Daniel Caldwell's names was submitted with a digital signature traceable to a device belonging to Mr. Caldwell's father. We have verified this through our cybersecurity division. I froze. You're certain? Yes, ma'am. The IP address matches the device used to open the business account for Caldwell and Sons Auto LLC. Additionally, the document lists your signature timestamped at a time when your phone's location data places you in Chicago. There it was. Proof. Solid, traceable, admissible. Rebecca went on, professional and precise. We've flagged the account as compromised. No credit will be issued, and a formal complaint is being filed with the district attorney's office for document falsification. For a moment, I couldn't speak. The sound that left my throat wasn't a laugh or a sigh, it was both. Thank you, I managed. One more thing, Rebecca said, her tone softening. I'd advise you to contact your local authorities to extend your protective order on the property. I understand there was an earlier police report? Yes. Deputy Miller filed it yesterday. Perfect. We'll send them our documentation directly. When I hung up, my hands were trembling, not from fear, but release. The walls that had been closing in now felt like armor. From upstairs, I heard Ethan playing with his toy cars. I walked up quietly and stood in the doorway. He looked up, grinning. Mom, can we go to the lake house this weekend? The cabin. My mother's place. The one they'd tried to steal. Yeah, I said softly. I think it's time we go home for a bit. He smiled and went back to playing, humming under his breath. Downstairs, Daniel emerged from the office, pale and tight-lipped. They called me, he said. Who? The bank. They told me what Dad did. He swallowed hard. I swear, Claire, I didn't know he forged it. I just thought. You just didn't ask, I finished for him. He rubbed his face. He's furious. Says he was only speeding things up. I nodded. Speeding up your ruin. Daniel sank into a chair. They're coming over. He wants to talk before the bank files charges. Not here, I said immediately. He's not stepping in this house again. Claire, please. No. I looked him dead in the eyes. You let him use you as a shield. He forged my name, Daniel. That's not business. That's betrayal. Before he could answer, a car engine rumbled outside. Through the blinds, I saw the black SUV parked crooked in the driveway. His parents climbed out, his mother still dressed like she had an audience, his father looking angrier than I'd ever seen him. The doorbell rang once. Sharp. Daniel stood, frozen. Maybe we should just. I opened the door myself. Stop right there, I said. His father sneered. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Making a spectacle. My son's future. Your son's future is intact, I interrupted. Yours isn't. The bank has already turned over their report to the DA. Janice blinked. What are you talking about? I stepped aside just far enough for her to see the deputy's car pulling up to the curb again, same officer, same calm expression. I filed an extended protection order, I said evenly. And a criminal complaint for forgery. Daniel's father turned pale. You wouldn't. I already did. The deputy approached. Mr. Caldwell, you've been named in an active investigation regarding fraudulent documents. You're not under arrest today, but you are required to appear for questioning. Janice gasped. This is insane. Actually, the deputy said, it's paperwork. I almost smiled. They sputtered, protested, blamed everyone but themselves. Daniel just stood there, head down. When the deputy escorted his father to the car, I felt something inside me settle. Not triumph, just balance. When the SUV finally pulled away, the house was silent again. Daniel sat on the steps, staring at the floor. You really did it, he whispered. I didn't do it, I said. He did. I just refused to cover it up. He looked up at me. Can we fix this? I hesitated. Maybe someday. But not until you remember which side you're on. That night, Ethan and I packed our bags for the cabin. The air up there would be cleaner, quieter. I needed that. Before I left, I locked the front door and taped a note above the knob. In plain black ink, it said, "This house stays honest or it stays empty." The next morning, the sun hit the lake like glass. Ethan ran down to the dock with his fishing pole, laughing again, really laughing this time. I sat on the porch, coffee in hand, and finally let myself breathe. The phone buzzed once more. Unknown number. Mrs. Caldwell, the voice said. This is the DA's office. We wanted to let you know the bank has pressed charges. You may be called as a witness. Of course, I said. I'll be ready. When I hung up, I smiled at the quiet water stretching before me. Revenge didn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes, it came with peace, earned, steady, and absolutely final. For the first time in months, I wasn't angry anymore. Just free. And that, I decided, was the sweetest revenge of all. What was your favorite moment? Drop it in the comments below. Don't miss more thrilling stories like this. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload.